first Bible study live today. Yeah, meaning we may have questions from online. Yeah. So last week we were doing it, and somebody asked me, we were doing Bible study. Like, well, you gonna do Bible study online? And I said, yeah. It was like, when you gonna start? I said, I guess we're gonna start this week. So.
Got everything going.
Yeah. Yes, I did. So we're gonna go ahead as soon as I see it on here, which I don't know why my phone is actually charging.
I'm trying to hit the Wi-Fi too.
I just cut it off. That was why.
Yeah. So last time I tried to connect, I couldn't even get it. Yeah. Couldn't we really just run it from the big screen over there too? You know what I mean? Like.
Okay, so we are on live, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. And for anybody that's watching online, you know you can ask your questions, and we'll get to them. So go ahead and open this up, Father. Because one of the questions I guess a lot of people have or are concerned with is, are we supposed to deal with the new moon feast or the new moon? Now, I just happened to search new moon, and something that I don't see is it written in the law, but let me double check that. And this is, yep, that's exactly what I need. And is the black thing hooked up to it too? Yep, okay. All right, go ahead, just sit it down. I'll take care of it. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just, Okay, we can look at that there. Okay. All right, so let's turn over to Numbers chapter 28. Numbers chapter 28. All right, so the new moon is what we use to determine our month. The word moon even comes from the word month. But what we're going to begin to see is that they did something every new moon, but no declared feast in the Bible for the new moon. And that's what people try to do. So Numbers chapter 28, and let's pick it up at verse 1 actually, and we're gonna skim through it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifice made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due season.
Go ahead. So he said, the sacrifices made by fire, sweet savor, you're going to do this in a particular season. The way that you're going to know when the season is by the moon. The moon is going to determine the new month, and it's going to determine your seasons. Go ahead, keep reading.
And thou shalt say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto the Lord.
Go ahead, keep reading.
2 lambs of the first year, without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering. The one lamb shalt thou offer in the morning, and the other lamb shalt thou offer at even.
Go ahead.
And a 10th part of the ephah of flour for a meat offering, mingled with the 4th part of an hin of beaten oil.
Go ahead.
It is a continual burnt offering.
All right, we're going to skip down to verse 9. So they burnt this offering every day, but skip down to verse 9.
And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof.
Go ahead.
This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering.
So we see that they did a Sabbath offering as well as an everyday offering. Keep going.
And in the beginnings of your months, ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord.
So now, at the beginning of each month, which would have been new moon, we would have offered an offering unto the Lord each month. Go ahead.
2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot, and 3/10.
Skip down to 14, so we don't have to get into the whole detail of it. Go ahead.
And their drink offerings shall be half an hin of wine unto a bullock, and the 3rd part of an hin unto a ram, and a 4th part of an hin unto a lamb. This is the burnt offering of every month throughout the months of the year.
Go ahead.
And 1 kid of the goat for a sin offering unto the Lord shall be offered, besides the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And in the 14th day of
that's good. So if you notice, he's telling us that this is the burnt offering of every month throughout the month of the year. So we would have an offering that they would offer every month on the new moon. And it's like we had an everyday offering. We had a weekly offering for the Sabbath. Then you have a monthly offering. Well, we turn that monthly offering into a new moon feast. But there is no new moon feast written in the scriptures. We just did. We just created that. You know what I mean? Which it would be kind of festive, I guess, if we giving the offering to the Lord, every month. But when we go to Leviticus 23, we see what feast days that we have and that we are to deal with here. Leviticus 23, and let's pick it up at verse 1. And they recognize the new moon. It's not like it's something they didn't know it came and existed, because this is how they determine each month. And each month we had to give some type of offering to the Lord, but it really wasn't it didn't start off as a feast. We just turned it into that. But Leviticus 23, these are the feasts that we see here. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, Concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
So these are the feasts of the Lord, and he's going to call these holy convocations. So the feast number 1 that he's going to put, or holy convocation number 1, is where? Go ahead.
Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
So the first one we got here is the Sabbath of rest. He's going to say we have a holy convocation this day, and then everything else that we find in here will be the feast of the Lord. All right, so go ahead at verse 4.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their season.
Go ahead.
In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days must ye eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
Okay, keep going.
But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day.
So again, we see here they was doing a sacrifice to the Lord, so on and so forth. So let's pick it up. Let's jump down to verse 15.
And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall ye complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath.
Skip down to 21.
And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings.
So again, we see here, and if we proceed through this chapter, we're going to see all these particular days, the unleavened bread, the Pentecost, the atonement, the trumpet. But what we never going to see here is the new moon. You know, there is no new moon feast day that we read about in the scriptures. But now if we go over to Amos, I think that's what I want. Amos, no, Hosea. Yeah, wait a minute. Let's see, I just had it and I kept moving. Let me, see, and I will also put it in. Yeah, let's go to Hosea. I'm sorry, Hosea chapter 2. Hosea chapter 2. And we could do this a lot of places in the Bible, but I just want us to see here, and we're going to look at it maybe another spot. Let's look at verse 10 and 11.
And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of mine hand. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons.
So notice here, it's like her feast days, her new moons, it ain't making them the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's deciphering the difference here. And it does this throughout the Bible. Go ahead.
And her Sabbaths and all her solemn feasts.
Right. So like they're not the same thing. Like the new moon, we don't see, and we could do this in other places in the Bible. Like we can go to Isaiah, I think it was chapter, let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Yeah, let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. We'll look at it here. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 13 and 14. And when you get there, go ahead.
Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths.
See, the new moons and the Sabbaths, they're not the same thing. Even though we recognizing the new moon each year, we're doing the offering that year. Keep going.
The calling of assemblies. I cannot away with.
Right.
It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth.
So now he's not saying that, he hate our new moons as if to say, this is why you're not doing it no more. He's just saying the way we were dealing with things it caused the Lord to despise what we was doing for him. So he's like, your new moons, but what we pointing out, recognizing here, he said, your new moons and your appointed feast, my soul's hated. So it didn't combine the two and just say, well, your feast, my soul hated. And we would have made, because they want to tell us we have a new moon feast. Where here we seeing that they're different once again. And we see that throughout the Bible. So the new moon and the feast day, they're different things. They're not the same thing. We just do a burnt offering every new moon. And that's the new moon is going to help us determine when our when our month goes by. Hopefully that helps clear that up a little bit. We got any more questions? Got another question, sir? All right, I think we have one online. Let's see that one is. Let's see if we can take that one. It says, is Nimrod's mother the reason people bow down to the Christmas to get Christmas gifts from under the tree? Okay, yeah. So that's what they asking. Is Nimrod's mother the reason why people bow down under the tree to get their gifts? And I don't really know the details to answer that question. Meaning, if I were to say, yeah, I can tell you how us going under the tree, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. I could Google it. I can search it, like we do most things around here, and see if we got some information on it. Everything all right back there? Is my mic working? Mic check. It would help if my light was on green. Mic check. What about now? No, I think we need new battery or something. Because even when I just cut it on, it just cut right back off. I got something back here, up here, though, it look like. I don't know if they're any good. Are these rechargeables right here? Oh, because they are some more up here like these. Okay, there we go, now we're good. All right, so the question that we had online is, is the reason that we give gifts due to Nimrod's mother? So I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to type out, why do we get gifts on Christmas? Here, I really don't know the exact reason. I know we did read something today about it, where the giving the gifts came, but a lot of things that we know about the holidays and stuff like that is from culture to culture, there was a change in it. So, you know, Nimrod would be more of the original culture who dealt with Christmas or whatnot. So let me see if I can, you good. See if I can look through some of this stuff here. It was one that I remember looking at. Oh, here we go. It was one I remember looking at today where it made mention, it seemed like it made mention of giving those gifts, but that didn't go back to Nimrod. And that's the thing. Like I said, we might find one culture that says it, but then when we get to another culture, so let's see. Right, I figured they was going to say that. So one of the main reasons we have the custom of giving and receiving presents at Christmas, this is just the generic Google, and receiving presents at Christmas is to remind us of the presents by the wise men. Frankincense, gold, myrrh. Frankincense, so, you know, that's one of the reasons that they say it here. But we know that it goes back much further than that. So we're going to see if we can't keep finding. But to be honest, I'm going to have to search. I'm trying to search a little bit while we got time here. Let's see if we can find anything on why we give gifts. And it seemed like I remember seeing something today. See, yeah, like I'm reading something here out of, what is information? Out of a Merriam-Webster encyclopedia, and it was saying here, the winter solstice, when the days begin to lengthen, the traditional custom connected with Christmas have developed from several sources. In the Roman world, the Saturnalia was a time of merrymaking and exchange of gifts. So they were doing that, you know, in exchange. They were exchanging gifts around December 25th, and also regarded as the birthday of the Iranian god Mithra. Yeah, so I don't really know. I would have to go and do some more research. I don't really know if it goes back to Nimrod on why we give gifts. But a lot of it, this book here that I was reading, the Two Babylons, a lot of this stuff takes you back to Nimrod, but I'm not really sure if we can connect the giving of the gifts back to Nimrod. Like I can't give you that right now. So that's what you was trying to see if he was in there? Yeah. I mean, you can, but we're probably going to go somewhere else next. Yeah. So I don't really know if we're going to be able to come up with that, but as I continue to do my homework and research, if I find something, I'll definitely put it back out there in the airways so that we'll know. But do we got any other questions and or comments? Unfortunately, we weren't really able to answer that one. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, my brother.
The Herod that we read about in Matthew 2 today, that's a different Herod that later on in Jesus' life?
Right, correct. Going back to Matthew chapter 2, as a matter of fact, we can find 3 Herods in the Bible. Maybe more than that. Herod, like Pharaoh, like Caesar, are titles.
Was this Herod Idumean as well?
That I know of, yeah. That he was Idumean. Going here, where are we at? Chapter 2, Matthew 2, and let's pick it up at verse 1. Because he ended up dying, and we're going to see that he died. Chapter 2 and 1, and when you get there, go ahead.
Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east.
All right, now let's skip down to verse 19.
But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life.
So you see here, he's saying, look, when Herod was dead, Jesus came back out of Egypt. So that's just showing us like this dude here is not the same one that we see here in the end. Then if we turn over to the book of Acts, we were just looking at this a couple weeks ago. What is Acts chapter like?
Kills James?
When
he kills James?
No, the Herod who he was taking praise for the Lord for speaking for God or something, and then he like died almost immediately. Let's see. We're going to the book of Acts, chapter. Give me a second. I'm gonna find it. Yeah, let's just use the sheet over here.
Oh.
You found it?
12.
Yeah, no, we was just at it.
I flipped to it, but I only seen the beginning of it.
Huh?
I flipped to 12, but...
Yeah, it's near the end, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Herod chapter 12. And yeah, let's pick it up at verse 20. So this is another Herod. Or matter of fact, pick it up at verse 1.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
That's what you was talking about. Go ahead.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
Okay, that's good. Let's skip down to verse 20.
And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an orient unto them.
He made like an oration.
Basically,
he began
unto
to start talking to them. Go ahead.
And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of God."
So this Herod, they was like, man, he sounds like he a god or something. Go ahead.
And not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten of worms, and gave up the ghost. But the word of God grew and multiplied. And Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem, when they had fulfilled their ministry, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark.
So again, we see another Herod. So we got this Herod, we got the Herod when Jesus was dying, we got the Herod when Jesus was born. These, like the word Pharaoh, like the word Caesar, they just, I guess the proper noun or title that we give these people in place of calling them king or governor or mayor or whatever. You know, they call them Herods. Like we saw, like the Caesar that made them kings. The Pharaohs, they were kings, you know. So that's what that is. That's just a title, not the same person. Because we saw that Herod died pretty much immediately. In the scriptures, immediately, in the same chapter. The same one I was looking for him. He didn't come up out of Egypt until that Herod was dead. Yeah, we got any other questions or comments? Go ahead, sis. And you know what? Cause of how you feeling about it now, I will tell them next year or when they get back next year, y'all gotta get your own. Cause I'm not contributing in y'all celebrating Christmas. I know that's what y'all using them for. Like I might not have thought them before, I might not have thought about it before or nothing like that, but I'm like it's dawning on me now. I wouldn't contribute to it. Here's something else we can look at too. Let's go to Exodus chapter 22. Exodus 23. Exodus 23. And we're going to look at verse 2. Yeah, and then it's just kind of like, you know, if it like you getting convicted by it now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, there's no sense on doing it. Like, y'all got to get your own next year. Like, you know, I know what y'all using it for, and, you know, I'm not participating in it no matter. Y'all ain't hustling me, getting, you know, going behind my back, you know, none of that. Y'all know I'm not here celebrating Christmas. Y'all over here talking about, but we got her chairs, though. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't none of that. So just to answer, I would personally just be like, nah, y'all get your own next year. Y'all can afford all this other stuff to do with it. You can afford some chairs. But go ahead and read that verse 2. In verse 2 of Exodus. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tyler.
Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak a cause to decline after many to wrestle judgment.
Right, so we're not really dealing with the second part. But in the first part, notice what he's saying. We're not following a multitude. I mean, and you might say, well, I'm not doing what they're doing, but you contributed. You know what I'm saying? Like you basically helping it go on. You know what I mean? If you just happen to go back over there and snatch all your chairs, they're going to be mad at you. But it might just be sitting on the floor now. Or they might be, oh, we can't do it over here. And maybe, you know what I mean? So even though really we know they're going to probably make do and figure some other way out, but you don't want to be the reason why you letting it go so successfully. Yeah, so that's just something I would think about. But,
second part of that question. So my husband will be over there.
Yeah. Oh, he taking the chairs with him, huh?
I'm just saying, they might call him next year and say, well, then we have. So he give them to him.
Yeah, he give them to him.
But not,
Yeah. Yeah, but be like, don't ask me. Yeah, I mean, even if they ask you, you might be like, nah. And they turn around and ask you, you might even say to your husband, like, I don't celebrate Christmas. I said, no, I don't care what you do. You know what I mean? Like, cause if he gonna do that, then he gonna do that. You know, you don't have to make it a problem between you and him. You know what I mean? Knowing, like, cause you know, in some instances like that, it's a problem. Like, well, I had already told them no. And you went back behind my back and said, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you ain't even trying to, your problem ain't with your husband. Even though you would prefer him not to do Christmas. I ain't trying to make this a problem between me and you in life. But I told them they couldn't get them. Now, if you tell them, that's cool, but they need to deal with you on that. I don't celebrate Christmas, you do, you know. And you know, just so that it won't be like, you know, because people be trying to play, you know, they be trying to play their game too. And, you know, it's an easier way to avoid that. So if he want to do it, hey, go right on ahead. I'm not helping. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be how I would handle it, you know. Yeah, it's just you. Yeah, we short-handed today. Short day of the year.
I'm trying to get a timeline up to Jeremiah 10 when we talked about learn how to ways of the heathen. Jeremiah 1, Israel is in captivity to the Babylonians, right? And in chapter 1 it has Ammon, king of Judah. Is he Israel or he just a Babylonian?
Nah, he's an Israelite. Ammon, king of Judah. Yeah, I'm with you.
So when we get to 10, they're still in captivity under the Babylonians. That's even custom.
Nah.
No?
In Jeremiah, we aren't in captivity. See, go to not the northern tribe. I mean, not the southern tribe. Go to Chronicles 36. 2 Chronicles 36. 2 Chronicles chapter 36. Like, we might go into captivity, but let's just see what we read here in 2 Chronicles 36. And this is probably going to help us a little bit. So start reading at, where we want to start? Start at verse 9. We're going to jump around here a little bit. Jeremiah. 2 Chronicles 36 and 9. When you get there, go ahead.
Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem.
So what you're going to use is this Chronicles as your base or reference of where we are in Jeremiah. Matter of fact, let's go back to 36 and 1, and we'll try to write some of these kings down so we can keep up. And that way, when we go back to Jeremiah, we're able to determine who is where and when, because it's going to tell us when we go to captivity here. So go ahead, 36 and 1.
Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead.
So Josiah was king before chapter 36, and then the first king we get to here basically is Jehoahaz. Whatever his name is. Yeah, go ahead. Keep reading.
Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem.
All right.
And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem.
All right, now skip down to verse 4.
And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim.
All right, so now we got Jehoiakim. Go ahead.
And Necho took Jehoiakim, his brother, and carried him to Egypt. Jehoiakim...
No, it took Joash's brother, carried him to Egypt. And Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign. All right, keep reading. Okay, he was 25. Go ahead, keep reading.
You just skipped on me. That's why I was confused.
No, I didn't. You read it wrong. When you read verse 4, you said Judah and Jerusalem turned his name into Jehoiakim. Yeah. And Necho took, you said Jehoiakim, his brother, and carried him into Egypt. So I was saying that was Jehoaz.
Okay, my bad.
Right, that's why I was just showing what you had just read it wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead. So pick it up at verse 5.
Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God.
And he was 25 and he reigned for 11 years. Go ahead.
Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar.
So now we see Nebuchadnezzar come up against Jehoiakim. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
And he did, all right. And bound him in fetters.
Start 6 again.
Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters, and carried him to Babylon.
So Nebuchadnezzar took Jehoiakim into Babylon. Okay, go ahead.
Nebuchadnezzar also carried of the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim, and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiachin, his son, reigned in his stead.
All right, so now we got another dude that reigned. Still talking about in Judah, which is Jehoiachin. Well, for now, go ahead, keep reading.
Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem.
He didn't reign long either. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon.
So again, see, Nebuchadnezzar at this point is in Babylon. We here. They're not ruling over us. It's just we battling with them right now. Okay, keep reading.
With the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem.
So now we see the next king here is Zedekiah. All right, Jehoiachin was only king for 3 months. So now we got Zedekiah. All right, go ahead.
Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem.
So he was 21 and he reigned for 11 years. Go ahead, in Jerusalem, go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
Keep reading.
And he also...
So notice here, he said, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled himself not before Jeremiah. So Jeremiah come and he talks to Zedekiah. This is one of the kings that he's talking to, telling Zedekiah, hey, y'all need to straighten up. Well, it's in there, it's in Jeremiah, but we just trying to see notice we bringing out Jeremiah now, and we trying to see. And at this point, even though we're not, even though these dudes are reigning, Babylon is up here, Nebuchadnezzar is up here. He ain't came down and took us out the land and captive to them yet. No, right, we still in Jerusalem, okay? And all this stuff, when you read in Jeremiah, you'll see Jeremiah is dealing with these different kings, okay, telling them what's going to happen. Keep going.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel.
Go ahead.
Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God and despised his words and misused his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no more remedy. Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldeans, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon the young men or maiden, old men, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
Go ahead.
And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king, and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon.
So now you see when we going down into Babylon. Go ahead.
And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
So the book of Chronicles is written, and it's written by the time it's done way after we done went through the whole Babylonian captivity, telling the story. So he say, well, look, and they had this, he said, and they were burnt the houses of God, and the great and small, the treasures of the house of the Lord, treasures of the king, his princes, all these that brought to Babylon. They burnt the house of God and break down the wall of Jerusalem and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and to his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia. Keep going.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years.
Right, so now we saying all this was done to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah. So with the time period of Jeremiah, he's prophesying to these different kings, telling them, hey, you know what I'm saying, get your house in order, you know, or follow directions, or whatever the prophecy is to them. That's what he's doing. So we're not really in captivity yet under the prophet Jeremiah. We're going to go into captivity. And you kind of see that, you know, throughout you know, the writings of Jeremiah. You know, so when you go to Jeremiah, like we in Jeremiah chapter 1, in verse 1, it says, the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priest, that was in Anamoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon. So we see that Jeremiah was talking during this guy, Josiah. You know what I mean? That's where he was beginning to prophesy. So we know that Josiah was the daddy of Jehoaz, who he only ran, I think it said 3 months, then because he wasn't no good. So then the Babylonian king or the Egyptian king beat him up and put in Jehoiakim, changed his name, it looked like. Say he was 25 when that happened. He reigned for 11 years. So we're still in the land, and we haven't not quite come to our captors yet. Then the next king was Jehoiachin, but Jehoiachin was ruling for 3 months, and then Zedekiah ended up ruling because Nebuchadnezzar sat him down. Zedekiah came in. He was 21 years old. He reigned for 11 years. Neither one of them was no good from what we read about them. And so these are the events that you find in the book of Jeremiah. And the books are titled or they're written in a way that you can see what king was ruling when it was written. So you will have that idea. For example, when we go to the book of Daniel, let's go over here to the book of Daniel. And let's go to Daniel chapter 1, actually. Oh, excuse me. Daniel chapter 1. And let's go ahead and start at verse 1. Daniel 1:1. Go ahead.
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah.
So in his 3rd year, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, go ahead.
Came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem.
Hold on, you good? You good? Yeah, I'm trying to charge that tablet so we can so I can see the online. But yeah, you can get it. It's green now anyway. Yup. Plus, I ain't been able. I probably won't. My phone. It's just acting weird today, so I ain't gonna worry too talking about it. Yeah. Yup. So we see here in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim. So this is his 3rd year. We know he reigned for 25 years. It said, came Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem to besiege it. So while he ruling, Nebuchadnezzar do come in and try to take the land from him. Go ahead, keep reading.
And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God.
So you see that, and basically, while he was in there, the Lord did go ahead and give him over to Babylon. So now, by the time we hear in Zedekiah, it's kind of like you like the puppet king almost. You know what I'm saying? But you still kind of like you. It's kind of like it's a process of us getting beat up out of the land. You know what I mean? So we see here though, but what we also seeing is how it's being identified with kings on who is, you know, who's ruling or who's, you know, is identified with kings, so we can understand the time period of when these events are taking place. So that's something else that we could look at too, you know, to know, you know, when something is going on. But to make the long story short though, it's telling you, just like, for example, when we get over to, let's take, for example, in the first year of Baal, in the third year king, no. Let's go to chapter 10. No, chapter 9. Chapter 9. So we're going to jump way out now. When I say we're going to jump way out, because we're going to go past all of Nebuchadnezzar by the time we get to chapter 9. Let's go to chapter 9 and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasius, Ahasiah.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Of the seed of the Medes.
All right, so now Darius, in his first year, after Ahasuerus, the king of the Medes, go ahead.
Which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years, whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet.
All right, so what we got going on now is, by the time Daniel chapter 9 take place, we done went past all of this. We done went past all three of Babylon kings, meaning Nebuchadnezzar, Belteshazzar, and I think it's one in between them two, okay? And now we in, what was the name of that king? What is that? Darius or Darius?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have spelled it wrong. So now we under the king of the Medes now. And this is when Daniel is prophesying chapter 9. And on top of that, he's reading Jeremiah. That's what he's reading. He's reading the book of Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's reading, because according to Jeremiah, in chapter 25 of Jeremiah, he says that we were going to be in captivity for 70 years. This is what he's reading. So Daniel's actually reading while he's over here in Darius's captivity about what Jeremiah wrote really back here. If you understand what we're getting at. Because he's reading Daniel during Darius' reign, who's of the Medes. He's reading in Daniel 9. He's reading about what Jeremiah wrote in chapter 25 on how long we're going to be in captivity. Okay? So this is basically, if we go to Jeremiah 25, we can see who might have been king here. Might tell you at the beginning of that chapter. Might not, because it depends on who he was talking to. Sure, it tells you in there, though. Yeah, okay. So, now, Jeremiah 25, right? And pick it up at verse 1.
The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim.
Oh, in the 4th year of this dude, Jehoiakim. Now, we saw that in the 2nd year, wasn't that the 2nd year when we looked in Daniel chapter 1? Wasn't that the 2nd year in which Nebuchadnezzar had came and took some of these people here? Now we're in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, which is Jeremiah 25, which is when Nebuchadnezzar said that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So really, the way Jeremiah looking at it, Jehoiakim's 4th year of this 25-year reign, year 4, was Nebuchadnezzar's 1st year, the Babylonian king's 1st year. Okay? And now what's going to happen is Jeremiah is going to prophesy how long we're going to be in this captivity. So he says, the word came to Jeremiah concerning the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah. See, that's how we know we're talking about the same one, son of Josiah. Son of Josiah, king of Judah. That was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, the which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 30th year of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, even unto this day, this is the 23rd year, the word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you. Now we're going to get to where he tell them how long we're going to be in captivity. Let's jump down to verse 9.
Behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and an hissing, a perpetual desolation.
Keep going.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the candle. And this whole land shall be a desolation, and an astonishment. And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
All right, so he's saying y'all going to serve them 70 years. So when we go to Daniel 9 again, what he was saying is in the 1st year of Darius, son of the Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made over the realm of the Chaldeans. See, the Babylonians are the Chaldeans. So Darius, and he said that they ruling over the Chaldean land now, over Babylon land. He said, in the 1st year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years whereof the Lord came to Jeremiah, the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years of desolation in Jerusalem. This 70 years of desolation is written in Jeremiah 25, and this 70 years is how long we're supposed to be in captivity. So, long story short, Josiah is the daddy. Jehoiakim, in his 4th year, was told by Jeremiah, y'all going to be in captivity 70 years. We see when we go to the book of Daniel that Nebuchadnezzar started coming around that 2nd to 4th year to put them into captivity. So, to answer your question, most of the time when you see the writings of Jeremiah, we're not in captivity. We're going to captivity. We're in the midst of it. It might be tomorrow morning when you wake up, we're going, but we're going. As you read it, that's what Jeremiah is about, telling the children of Israel that now is the time of us to go into captivity. So that help answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to piece together the timeline of when stuff is happening. And the book of Chronicles is definitely.
Yeah, that Chronicles, because what Chronicles does is it shows you, see, we went and pulled all the kings from Chronicles. We pulled their names. See, Chronicles, the reason it's in the Bible first is because from start to finish of Kings and Chronicles is running down the kings of Judah, okay? And so, like, for example, you got Samuel, 1st and 2nd Samuel, that's David, that's Saul and David. And then after you go to 1st and 2nd Samuel, it goes into Kings. And what it does is it runs you from the first king, it talk about Solomon, and it goes all the way and takes you all the way to the end, all the kings of the north and the south of Israel. All right, so Samuel 1 and 2, Kings 1 and 2 is really one book. Okay, they all discussing Israel and his kings. Then right after that, you run into the book of Chronicles. Now, if you notice, Chronicles does something different. It really starts with David. And now what it's going to do, it's going to cover David's bloodline. David, then it go to Solomon, then it stays on the kings of Judah. Well, Judah is the one that goes into captivity in 2nd Chronicles chapter 36. You see? So they come in to prophesy to Judah in 2nd Chronicles 36, and he's telling you that we was there till we got past that point. So that's why we started off in Chronicles 36. You gone, sis? All right, sis, peace to you. No problem. Oh, man, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. More questions, y'all? I don't think we have any on line. Let me see. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Thank you. It said I'm going to have to bring the board behind your head next time so it can appear. Oh, yeah, you got a good point. I'm looking at it. Yeah, so I guess next time we got to slide the board over a little more so they can see online, so I do apologize. But we're a work in process here, a work in progress here. So I do apologize about that.
What, like the other side of you almost?
No, like just like right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it probably would have showed up a little better. And, you know, and then once you started writing, that white probably would have changed. Okay, you got a question? Go ahead. What you got for him? We got one online here. We're waiting on this call. Yeah, it does show a little better, and I guess the camera balances the white out. That's a good question. What type of pride does the Lord dislike? That's a really good question. And I think what happens is, for lack of a better word, we use the word pride to describe how we feel when we probably just mean feel good. Because when you look at what pride is, and let's go to Proverbs chapter 8. When you look at what pride is, well, we don't need pride. God hates pride. That's one of the things that we're going to see that he hates. We're going to go to Proverbs 8 and 13. But, you know, we might be proud of our children, or we might work hard and feel good about the accomplishment that we've done. So in that case, we oftentimes use that word pride in a different way than what the Lord is using it, just because of how we use it now. But pride is, the Lord don't like pride, period. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 8 and verse, what did I say?
13.
13, yep, go ahead.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate.
So when we're looking at pride, we saying one of the things that we're saying we're not going to deal with is arrogancy, and which is thinking more of yourself than what you really are. That's what being arrogant is. Being, you know, feeling like you better than what you are, more important than what you are. It's kind of like me being here in Philadelphia, thinking that, oh, well, now I'm in Philly, you know, I'm some great dude now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Lord has saw fit. Oh, well, we're gonna put you here. So now you better than, so you more than what you are. No, you was the same person you was before, and that's why you here. But that don't make you better than being anything else than you ever were to start with. And that's what arrogancy is, when you think that you better than what you really are. Now, also, let's go to Job chapter 41, and we'll see something else here. Job chapter 41. And we'll start this at verse 1, and we'll jump to the end of the chapter shortly. Job chapter 41. Job 41. And when you get there, pick it up at verse 1. Job 41 and verse 1.
Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook?
All right, now Leviathan is the serpent of the sea. So really, Leviathan is Satan. That's who he is. The sea are the people. Leviathan is a serpent. He's the sea serpent, okay? And this chapter is all about describing him. Now watch what it says in verse 34. Go down to verse 34 and read that.
He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
Right, so Satan is the king of the children of pride. So when we begin to talk about what type of pride is it that that the Lord doesn't like in us, he doesn't want us to have any type of pride. Now, does that mean you're weak because you're not proud? Or does that mean that you, it just means stay in your lane, stay in your place. You know, yeah, you got a nice house and a car. Praise the Lord. Yeah, you might have worked hard for it. You know, but I'm going to show you something. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. And this is one of my favorite ones. Chapter 3, I think. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, maybe. And start reading at verse 10, but I'm not sure if this is what I'm looking for. But we're gonna read this too, though. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 10.
I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end.
Keep going.
I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. And also...
Okay, that's good. I'm in the wrong place. Ecclesiastes chapter 9. I think that's what I want. Yeah, yep. This is what we want. Ecclesiastes 9, and go ahead and pick it up at verse 11.
I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong,
right?
Neither yet bread to the wise.
See, so I want you to comprehend. Like, you might have what you got. You know, you might be who you are, but notice what he's telling you. Look, he said, I returned and I saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor riches to the men of understanding. So what I'm getting at is, I remember when I was coming up, I grew up in Michigan, and we would go play ball, and I would go play ball with my uncle, and he would tell me that dude there could beat Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson from Michigan. And my uncle was a hooper, and hooped with, like, so he wasn't just playing games with me when he was saying that. He was like, this dude, you know, he could dog Magic. And I never kind of understood that. And as I began to get a little older, I remember seeing people who could outplay some of the basketball players on our team, and they wasn't on the team. And then I recall people who, you know, like you athletically, you like, man, he probably could dog him on a football field. Why he not playing? And so what we learn again is time and chance really happen to them all. Circumstances, situations in life, whatever the case is. So what we getting at is, when you see somebody who excel, a lot of times you thinking they the best or they're the greatest, giving you a sense of pride, especially if it's you and what you have accomplished. But watch what this statement says. He said, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding. Go ahead.
Nor yet favor to men of skill.
Right, nor yet favor to men of skill, but what?
But time and chance happeneth to them all.
Right, time and chance is what, like basically time, using the right time, right place. The opportunity was given to you. Whatever the case, meaning when we look at, you know, like, for example, I don't have my PhD or master's degree. Heck, I went to college and basically majored in sports and playing cards and said, forget the actual book part. Now, I also could say that I probably could sit down with some of the greater professors that were at my school and still, at this day and at this point, challenge them on any level of intellect. Well, time and chance happened. Meaning they might have went ahead and did what they needed to do to get their degree, and my life did what it did, but it doesn't make them smarter than me because they have achieved what the American dream has told them to achieve. Or you done went to school, you done got your PhD, while I'm out here with 6 kids working. You see what I'm saying? Doing something different. Or, you know, or maybe on the flip side, maybe some people could recognize, well, you got something else. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter to me, but what we're getting at is pride comes in because you think that because you're here, that you're the best, or you the greatest, or you have arrived, or because you look like this, or because your car looks like this, or whatever the case is, that you are more than what you really are. Because time and chance is what puts you in that position. I can tell you right now that the boy who got 2 gold Olympics in the Olympics was running behind me when we was in high school. I can guarantee you can ask him. We can go on Twitter. As a matter of fact, we can go on Instagram and he'll tell you I was his idol. But yet still, he got the medals. I did. Time and chance happened to them all. You see? So that's what pride comes in. Whereas if he thought, oh, y'all ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look what I got. Like, really, that would be pride. And really, it just you, the right time, the right opportunity was provided for you and not for the next. So it doesn't make you any better. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about, does it make you better? You know what I'm saying? That's where pride comes in. Not that maybe you have achieved, but in your mind, does it make you a better person because of what you achieved? Like, let's look at one more thing on this. Let's go to Luke. Luke chapter 19, I think it is. Or maybe 18. Yeah, Luke chapter 18. And so we're going to still look at pride, but from a different aspect, and it's of righteousness, okay? Because, you know, you might, and here's the crazy thing about it, and like, if I come and get a word to a murdering thief, prostitute, and bank robber, and then I come get a word to a, Sister Sally who go to 2 Corinthians Baptist Church every week, Sister Sally immediately, because she ain't did nothing but gossip every day of her life, is going to look at prostitute, murderers, whatever, and put herself above this individual immediately. Now, not understanding that a year later, Sister Sally is still gossiping while this ex-murderess, ex-prostitute, ex-thief, whatever, has made great strides of improvement, okay? So, Sister Sally gonna have some pride on her because she gonna think she better. Looking at this ex-prostitute who now lay with her man who she ain't married with. That's her only problem now. You know what I'm saying? She ain't prostitute no more. But now Sister Sally but you need to go get married. See, so that's Sister Sally being proud. That's one thing about our elder people. They tend to not see the pride of themselves because they don't understand that, yeah, you have come a long way from where you was as a youngster, but when we walked in this thing, you still had some improvement to go, but you look back at yourself and you just look at the youngsters like, well, I ain't acting like them. Right, and that's not the attitude, and we're going to see that. Let's pick this up in Luke 18 and pick it up at verse 9. Go ahead.
And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others.
So he spoke a parable that people trusted in themselves that they was righteous and despised others. So that's the catch about it. It's the mentality of you despising somebody else and thinking that you're better than everyone else. So let's look at the parable. Go ahead.
2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee and the other a publican. So
immediately we begin to hold this conversation, sure, we're going to look at both of them like they ain't no good, but really the Pharisee should be living better. Okay, the publican, he just out there. And see, I want you to think of this especially during the course of the week, when we out here and we condemning our peoples for celebrating Christmas, be careful. Right. You did it. You know what I'm saying? It's more saddening than anything else. Mm-hmm. Come from a perspective of a loving parent and not from the next door neighbor, looking at the neighbor and his foolishness. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, the other a publican. Go ahead.
The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. So
this Pharisee come up on the scene, he get on his knees and he like, Lord, I'm so glad I ain't like Tyler. Tyler is a extortioner, adulterer, he done did this, he done did that. Now see, and this is the thing, man, you don't know what Tyler and God relationship is at all. But you worrying about somebody else though. Go ahead.
I fast twice in the week.
Now you coming to the Lord trying to tell him what you done did. You fast twice a week? Go ahead.
I give tithes of all that I possess.
Tyler, on the other hand, go ahead.
And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes into heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me.
So in humility, he coming like, man, Lord, just be merciful to me. I'm sorry. I know I'm a screw up. Whereas me, I'm sitting over here, man, look how Tyler, he be screwing up. Like he ain't nothing. And look at me. I'm putting in all this work. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So now the question is, go ahead.
I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other.
Meaning Tyler gonna go down more justified, coming to the Lord in humility, asking for mercy, than the one who really had the credentials. Like he was doing something. So the whole point is, you want to have a mentality that really to God, your righteousness is filthy rags. You ain't nothing. If you got something, you was lucky. Time and chance, that's what it means. Go look up time and chance to see, or go look up what luck is and it'll tell you it's time and chance. So when the Lord started talking about, to go back to the question, what type of pride does he not want you to have? Well, finish reading that verse.
For every one that exalteth himself shall be abased.
So he said, anybody who exalted himself, the Lord is going to abase them. Go ahead.
And he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
So that's how we know that chapter was about pride and humility. And so going back to the question, which was, let's see if I can find the question again verbatim. What type of pride does the Lord dislike? We see that the Lord, he don't like no pride. But what we want to come from is when you thinking you better than somebody or something else because of what you have or what you got, that don't make you no better. It's just time and chance. That's what it is. It's time and chance. And so, hopefully I hope that helps you understand that a little better. I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman. I want to say it's a brother, but then I see the picture and it look like a sister. But regardless, I definitely appreciate your question. And I probably know who you are and just don't recognize the name. But I definitely appreciate your question on our live stream today. And we'll be definitely back next week for you.
On that pride, when I first came into the knowledge that the entire Bible was still relevant for today, and understanding that I was Israel, that was one of the biggest pride things that I had, to the point where I was thinking I was better than other people. But until I continued to read and understand what my purpose was,
Yeah.
and everything that happened to Israel, it kind of like put me back in a different position as far as not using that Israel thing as something dominant or over other people that might not be Israel.
Yeah.
And also, like college, like I had 4 brothers, and 2 of us went to college. My older brother, he was always smarter than me our entire life. We went to college together, and he flunked out, and I finished.
Right.
So in our family, that was like a pride thing. Like,
right.
You went to college and I finished, and you didn't. But I was kind of like, overcame that and not having that be something that I have, dominant over him. It's just a college degree, I just happened to finish. But then I turned around to do E-trade or something. Now he's...
So he's doing great now. Right, I know, right?
I'll come to him for financial advice.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's something the world be making it seem like you get this piece of paper like you. I mean, it's definitely, it's a good thing to have. I mean, I'm gonna tell my kids to go get it. You know what I mean? Because the more education they get, the more liberty they can have in this life. But I know better than that. What's his name? Bill Gates. He ain't got one. You know what I mean? So I mean, when we really know, when we really get it, I mean, what did they get Shaq one? You know what I mean? Because I mean, they millionaires and billionaires. So we know that that's just a piece of paper. But with all that being said, just going back to pride, it make you feel a certain type of way to get these accomplishments in life. Whatever they are. But don't think that when you ride down the street that you was better than that guy who asked for that change. You don't know how he got there, what he doing. You know what I mean? And really, it could have been you, but time and chance happened. Time and and that's what we just got to remember. That time and chance happened to them all, and you just thank the Lord for what He done allowed you to be in, what the position He done put you in, and don't play yourself. You ain't got no crib, but you got a what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like God give, God taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So I hope that helped you, Brother Marcus. That's who that was. Yeah, Brother Marcus. I hope that helped you. He said I had grandma picture. Yeah, right. So hopefully that helped you get some clarity on that. What type of pride is the Lord looking for in us, or to us to not have? And really, it's whatever pride. Just keep yourself humble. Don't try to make yourself to be better than the next or anybody else. Just thank God for what you got, and hopefully you got some understanding on that. I don't think we got any more online right now. Anybody in the house got any questions? Got any more questions?
You know what?
Go ahead, bro.
Thing is, I'm looking at this verse 15,
where
it goes into how Jesus was rebuked when infants were born to him.
Uh-huh.
He children not to be dealt with?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Let's read that. Let's keep going into 15 and 16 and 17. So go ahead and keep going.
And they brought unto him also infants, that he would touch them. But when his disciples saw it, they rebuked him, them. But Jesus called them unto him, and said, Suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not. For of such is the kingdom of God.
So basically what we're getting at is, when we counted the children of Israel, we pretty much gave them a 20 and up count. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, we ain't count the children.
Okay.
So it's like, now you bringing the children, and he, you know, like, it's kind of like, you know, they say, man, why'd you bring the kids up here? Like this is, like right now, where the kids at? You know what I'm saying? The grown folks is what's responsible. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, why'd you bringing the kids in here? Then Jesus like, no, hold on. Bring the kids. Because if you don't get humble like the kids, then he said, well, suffer the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. Verily I say, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as these little children shall no wise enter therein. Right, because a little child, we can see, I can whoop one of these kids right now, and 5 minutes later, they back loving daddy. You know what I'm saying? No problems, no nothing. You know, one of us get whooped, man, we're going to have problems for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna still be pissed about something. And you be like, wait a minute. When you start analyzing, how long ago was that? Like, you know that was like 15 years ago, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know you still tripping about 2000. Like, but we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still think that, you know, Brother Paul is the same person he was in June 13, 2001, today. And so we get like that. So the Lord is telling us, hey, man, be humble. You know what I'm saying? Be humble like these children. These children got a better shot the way they act than we do. So, but the main reason they rebuked them, though, is because we ain't even mess with the kids like that. You know, the children, they like how they are now. We don't know. Just leave them alone. Just leave us alone. You know, but until they got to a certain age, which was basically 20, then we started to say, okay, you need to sit your butt down. You need to, you know. But Jesus is saying, look, you got to get like them. You want salvation.
I recently turned down a job.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, him and his wife they christened their baby daughter. And they wanted me to photograph and whatnot. I turned it down.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in infant baptism.
Right.
And I was trying to explain that to them. They were like, I couldn't get them to realize, explain to them, infant baptism, the child should have some knowledge, some awareness of what they're getting into. And that infant baptism, which is Catholicism.
Right.
They're not Catholics, but there's some kind
And you know, that's crazy, too. We don't be knowing about that stuff, and we be doing stuff like you said, we be christening the babies and doing all that stuff, and it don't matter. Like, I know they did that in my great-grandmother's face. She was Lutheran.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That was something that they did. No, she was not Lutheran. I went to a Lutheran school. She was Methodist. Yeah, she was, AME, Methodist. And they did that. You know what I'm saying? Methodists, they wear the white thing on their head a lot of times. I'm sure they're not the only ones that do. But they, what we would consider a more pure-bred Baptist. Right. Meaning kind of Baptist, but like with all the edge off of it. Like the women got to wear dresses, they cover their head. It's still all... Yeah, it's still all Catholicism. And they grabbed pieces of it, and that was one of the things that they did. They did the little christening thing. Yeah, I feel you on that, man. Like, I ain't finna be taking baby pictures of your baby getting baptized. But yeah, but that's to answer that question though. Yeah, these children didn't do those type of things. Yeah. Got any more questions or comments? All right, well, we short today. I know today's the short day of the year, and you know, the weather been kind of crazy. People getting sick, but we're gonna do this every week. Whether we're gonna do the live, we'll start broadcasting it live. So, you know, if you out there in the world and you leave here or whatever, and you want to deal with the Bible study, you can bring your questions still here, as well as you can be here, and we'll do this live every week. It is inherited within the mind of very young children, actually a baby, that they know not to steal and command it if they were never exposed. Is that what Jesus meant when he said a new covenant will be don't know. Not sure part. It seems like your question got cut out. But I will say this, that everything that we have is learned. First thing babies pretty much learn when they looking for food is the breast. And that baby going to be reaching for that breast, and after a while it's going to look even inappropriate sometimes. They don't know no better. They just know it's food. That's why we tell our children, no, don't do this. Yes, you can. We are training our children up in the way that they're supposed to be. So we'll be in our minds. So everything is a learned behavior. So as you continue to grow, we teach you that it's wrong not to take. I've taught my children that doesn't belong to you. You don't take it, because sometimes they don't know. They'll just go take it. We teach our children to lie, like to cover up the truth, if that'll get you out of trouble. Whatever behavior, all the way down to, homosexuality and our sexuality, these things are taught to us. Okay? So we're not born with anything naturally in us. All right? We got to remember, we're all born into sin. So if anything, we probably born naturally more a sinner, and these things need to come out. But really a baby, and this is why the Lord say, humble yourself like the children, because they're more apt to accept what is given to them. Now, as far as the new covenant, he's just saying that the new covenant, really the new covenant has more to do with the death of Jesus and his blood, and not so much the death of these other animals and how it is that you get from under your sin. That's what more the new covenant is about. And that, yes, under the new covenant, we still deal with the law, which at first the law was written down, but now we know that the law is supposed to be in our minds. So those are the differences in the two covenants. But as far as children, they aren't naturally anything. And the reason we want to stray away from that is because some people say, well, I was born gay. Look, you wasn't born nothing. You wasn't born nothing. You cannot tell me that when you was born that you was a little boy born coming out the womb looking at the man doctor. You see, that's super stupid. You see what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't. You had no idea. And these things are placed upon you. So I just want to clear that up, kind of came in online. But other than that, and for those here, if you know, so you'll know the YouTube page that we got is ICOJPhilly. Yeah, so it's Israel Church of Jesus, but it's just abbreviated ICOJPhilly. And you can catch our classes, even though today's didn't come out all the way. We kind of tweaked it out today. And then hopefully this stream here came through clear enough, because we was dealing with that. And you're quite welcome, Sister Lisa. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and face Jerusalem and close it out. We'll give some of these other brothers opportunities as well to deal with these live Bible studies too. So,
Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever. In Jesus' name.
In His name.
Amen.
Amen. I say we good.
Last Sunday,